Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, whether you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, listening to the podcast or catching up on the replay. Welcome to Home Studio Q&A for the very last time in 2020. Yes, this is our 2020 retrospective special. We'll still be answering a bunch of your questions live here on the show. So if you have questions and you are watching live, what you need to do is jump into the form. There is a form linked. I'm throwing it on the screen for those watching, and it is linked in the description, in the chat, in the comments. You'll find it. It's there. It's a Google form. All I need is your name and your question, and we'll get to as many of those as we possibly can. We'll also say g'day to the folks who are here live as we go through the show. But 2020, yes, what a year it has been. It's been challenging for many folks. I know it's been tough for many folks, but there's been a lot of positives here, and there's been a lot that's come out of this year that I think we need to look back on and kind of appreciate. So let me just say right up front that I'm not underplaying any of the challenges or any of the things that have gone on, but one of the great things is that all of you in the Studio Live Today community have stepped up. You've created music, you've shared your knowledge, you've shared your experience and skills with each other, and so much music has been produced. The lockdown songs aside, everyone's got their lockdown song. There's been a lot of music produced here, and I just wanted to celebrate sort of 5 things up front here that I'm kind of grateful for in 2020. I know it's not Thanksgiving. We don't do that here in Australia, but this is like my 2020 Thanksgiving because, as I've mentioned a few times lately, I'm a glass half full kind of person. And I know, again, without underplaying the challenges, there's been a lot that's been to be thankful for in this year. Number 1 is home recording in general. So home recording has taken on a whole new life because prior to 2020, it was up there, yeah, but there were still so many people that were looking down on the home studio and recording in your own home. Whereas where we are now at the end of 2020, so many folks have, through circumstance and through necessity, have had to set up a home studio. And we're talking professional folks, we're talking corporate folks. Everyone now seems to know how to use Google Hangouts, how to use Skype, how to use Teams, how to use Zoom, and how to set themselves up with some decent recording, some audio and video recording stuff. So to the point where it is sold out. And I know I've got my link up here. We're brought to you today by studiolivetoday.com/gear, my gear guide over there. So if you are in the market for some home recording gear, you can go and check it out. But we've had some challenges this year because so many folks have been getting into home recording that a bunch of stuff has been sold out. So that has been hard to get your hands on some of that gear if you've been wanting to. But the home recording boom, the home recording revolution is definitely upon us. Number 2 is the rise and continual rise of a little app that I like to call GarageBand. Yes, I've been banging on about GarageBand on your iPhone and your iPad for nearly 5 years now, coming up 5 years, and it has really taken a foothold in the last year or so. I've been doing, in a few shows recently, I've been doing the Google Trends, where I've been looking at GarageBand as a search term. In fact, why don't we just do that just for some fun here? Let's just see how the old GarageBand search term is doing when it comes to the comparative searches over time here. So if we go GarageBand and we go over the past 5 years, let's just see exactly what's happened. Oh, it's come back to earth a little bit. Let's just share the screen so that those watching live can actually see what I'm talking about here. But here is what happened. Here's what happened earlier in this year. Right around here, the search term GarageBand just went through the roof. So not surprisingly, around March, April, May, a whole lot of people suddenly went, uh-oh, I'm at home, I better learn GarageBand. And yeah, we've come back to earth a little bit here now, but that's pretty amazing that things like GarageBand and home recording have really taken off. And even the Mac and Mac users haven't been left behind as well. In fact, let's talk that because I bought my first Mac in 2020. So what has the Mac done? Well, it's done everything. We've had the new M1 line of Macs that have come out just recently. A lot of folks jumped on board. Apple have done some really interesting things this year, including this whole move to the M1 system on a chip architecture, making their own chips, and getting people like me who, look, I never said never. I'd always threatened to buy a Mac, but it wasn't until they sold me a $1,000 Mac that I could just plonk onto my desktop, plug everything in, and start using that I actually got on board. And I'm using my Mac day in, day out. I'm using it to stream live to you right now. And yes, we've had some hiccups and we'll talk about those, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. But all in all, loving my Mac. So yeah, Mac has been an interesting 2020 for Mac with Big Sur coming out with the M1. Yeah, it's definitely been some fun times. Number 4, iPhones and iPads. Do you know, I didn't do the count. I meant to do the count before the show. We've had so many new iPhones and iPads this year, and it all started. Can you remember? I know it seems like decades ago, but when the new iPad Pro 2020 was announced, I decided to pick one up. So I decided to replace my aging iPad Air 2 with this baby, the iPad Pro 2020. Eventually bought the Magic Keyboard because Jade Star said it was good, and I laid down $500 to buy the Magic Keyboard, but this is now my portable office. And yes, haven't had the opportunity to use it portably as much as I would have liked in 2020, but it is great. Every time I go out and about, this goes in my backpack and goes with me. But since then, since the start of 2020, we've had a new iPad Air, the Air 4th generation. We've had a new iPad, which is the one that my daughter is coveting at the moment, the brand new 2020 iPad. We've had a whole range of iPhones. We've had 4 different iPhones. We had the iPhone Mini, the iPhone 12 Mini, the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Oh, and a 5th one, the iPhone SE 2 has come out as well, which my wife has and loves because home button. She really wanted the home button. So we have a really good high-end iPhone that has a home button. That's pretty cool. And last but certainly not least is you. Yes, you person looking at screen, looking at phone, looking at iPad, looking at computer right now, because the community has been so supportive this year. Can't underplay the importance of having positive people around you to help encourage, to help motivate, to help lift, to help drive, to help do all of those things. So the community around Studio Live today, the GarageBand users Facebook group, the Create, Record, Release group, all of these things have just been amazing. And yeah, the help that I see, it's not just me, it's not just sort of me and you, it is you helping you. So I've run out of time to be able to help everyone that I would like to be able to. And that's been my biggest challenge in 2020 is I've wanted to do everything for everyone. And I wrote a song about it. I've probably bitten off more than I can chew on several occasions. So I want to say a big thank you to you because it is you that are helping each other out. And we've got people here that are brand new to recording and to creating. And we've got people that are super experienced. And to see the experienced folks helping the new folks, but also the new folks coming in with some ideas that are helping the more experienced folks as well. It is a lifelong learning journey that we are all on here. And I want to thank you all for being part of it. That is going to do it. That's the topic of the week. I couldn't think of a better way to finish off 2020 than to actually stop, take heed, and realize that, hey, yes, there's been some challenges, but by golly, there's been some stuff going on, and it has been very positive for those who love to create, record, and release music here in the home studio. What is going on to the folks who are here live? I see many folks. I'm going to have to go in reverse order here. So I see Greg Hernandez is here. We've got Gino Therese is in here. We've got Jade Star, loving the SE, the iPhone SE. Orchestra Eclipse, here's to a better 2021 filled with carrots. Here. Danny Broderick is here. Russ, g'day to you. I can see. I sound like a romper room. I see SM Borthwick. I see Stu Cash. I see Tom Rochelle. I see Ian. Oh yeah. Bubba is in the house. Hello to you. And Fallen. And I did see Alex Backus that was here earlier saying is it still Christmas places? So it is the 27th. It can't be still Christmas now, can it? I don't think that's how time works. It's got to be Boxing Day for everyone, yeah? I'd think so. I would think so. So we're going to jump into some questions in a moment. Once again, if you do have questions, and you know what, it's the end of the year. It's our last show of the year, so you can ask anything. I know it's a home studio Q&A, but feel free to do the Ask Me Anything thing. And by the way, if you missed my Christmas show yesterday, I know I've removed the Christmas decorations. I was bar humbugging yesterday, because it's the 27th here today. So I've removed the Christmas decoration. But happy Christmas, Merry Easter, celebrations to you all. Whatever you celebrate this time of year, I hope it was a good one. Let's go over and see if we've had any questions come through in the forms. We've got 4 questions in there to start us off here. Jeff Brush, by the way, happy holidays, and I did see you drop in there. Hello and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too, my friend. Let's jump in and take some questions. And we'll do what we did before. We'll copy. For those watching here, I am trying out the new version. So we've got a new version of the little banners that we pop up here. So we'll throw these up here and use these to put the questions. So this one is from Patrick, and Patrick says, "Hello, Pete." Hello, Patrick. This is Patrick Chandler, one of the Chandler brothers. I'm thinking about purchasing the Steinberg UR22C. Good choice, go buy it. Okay, next question. No. I currently have an iPad 7th gen and was curious if I'd be able to utilize all the functions and capabilities of the UR22C. Yes. So short answer is yes. So iPad 7th generation, I was using, that is better than my iPad Air 2, and I was using my Steinberg UR22C with my iPad Air 2. I was using it with my iPhone 6S. So I would say that anything that can run iOS 14, you'll be absolutely fine. And even earlier stuff, you'll be absolutely fine. The Steinberg UR22C, and with any audio interface, the thing is that it's mostly actually all of the processing is being done on the device. And all that your device is doing is taking the digital signal from your audio interface. So as long as you have, you know what I'm going to say here. As long as you have yourself a Lightning to USB 3 adapter, yes, Jade, a Lightning to USB 3 adapter, then you'll be good to go. Let's jump in here and I'll just show you what we're talking about here. So the Steinberg, if we go to, again, studiolivetoday.com/gear, today's sponsor, me, then you can actually go here. The very first thing is my audio interface, which is the Steinberg UR22C. Here it is. At the moment, it's $190. It's in stock, which is always a good thing over here at Sweetwater if you're in the US. Patrick, are you guys in the UK? That's a really good question. I think you might be. Check Amazon, US, UK, Canada. They have stock in and out. It kind of floats in and out of stock, but this is what it is. 2-channel audio interface. I talk about it enough. Go back to previous episodes, check out the gear guide. You'll find all the information out about it. But the good thing about this one is that it's separately powered. So you can power it up via just any old battery or any old 5-volt DC adapter. So you can plug it into the wall, you can plug it into battery, you can separately power it, but you've also got bus power there, and you've also got MIDI in and out and nice balanced TRS outputs, as well as having stereo line in and 2 mic preamps right there on the front, and those Nutric Yamaha D-Pre's on the front that sound awfully good. Nice and quiet, and yeah, it's just an all-round solid tank of an interface, and I love it, and I use it pretty much every day. So yes, you'd have no problem at all, Patrick, going with that. The one thing to keep in mind is if we come back to the gear guide here and we go down to Lightning adapter, you'll need one of these, and everyone needs one of these. I know it's $40 for a bit of plastic, but everyone needs one. It's the Lightning to USB 3 camera adapter, and this allows you to plug in any USB device into your Lightning-based iPad or iPhone, including MIDI keyboards like the one sitting up there behind me, MIDI keyboards, USB microphones, USB mice and keyboards, USB audio interfaces, USB mixers. You need one of these. And the beauty part of this is you've got the USB plug there, and you've also got a Lightning port to charge your device. If you don't have the one with the Lightning port to charge your device is going to go very quickly out of power, and you do not want that. Oh, I've just realized I've just realized something here. I've been complaining about the fact that the Mac pops up this little thing when I don't want it to over here on my screen. You know what? All I need to do to get rid of it is to go to the other screen and go to the bottom, and the dock jumps over there. There you go. I learned something new, and yes, you too can learn something new every day if you just try it. Trial and error for the win. Keep doing it. Orchestra Eclipse has a pony. There you go. An actual pony? That reminds me of the pony scene in, Seinfeld, where she's like, only rich, stupid people had a pony. And the old lady's like, I had a pony. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay. You got to be careful what you say, right? These rich country club snobs are like, I was a rich country club snob. Cold coffee for the lose. Let's jump to the question again. Form up the top in the question. Form linked and pinned in the comment and in the description if you want to ask a question. We'll jump to the next question in the form now. And it is from... I'll do this and I'll put it up on the screen again, just so that those maybe just listening instead of watching can actually see what we're talking about, and they'll see a question and go, oh, I want to know that. So this one comes from Roger. Roger says, I have an iPad. How can I get a download third party, not from App Store, instrument into GarageBand? I can get it into the download folder on the iPad. Good question. The short answer is you can't. So at the risk of crushing your hopes and dreams, you can't do that because the only instruments that are supported in iOS are AUV3 plugins. So what you need to do is go to the App Store and find some AUV3 plugins. Every other type of plugins, VSTs, audio units, anything else that you find and come across, any software you come across that's for PC or Mac will not work on your iOS device. And it's just a pretty much cold and hard fact there. There's probably workaround. Every time I say you definitely can't do something, someone comes and tells me, oh, well, if you just do blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there may be a just do a whole bunch of stuff to get it working thing. In my experience, it is not worth it. There are far too many really good things that you can actually get. And in fact, if you go to, especially if you want free stuff, if you go to studiolivetoday.com/freeau, you will get to this page here, which has all of my best plugins, all the best free AUV3 plugins. So if you're looking for instruments and you're looking for plugins and effects and EQs and reverbs and delays and all the rest of it, jump over to there, studiolivetoday.com/freeau. But yes, unfortunately, no way to install third-party plugins or any of the like unless you actually have an AUV3 version of it. And I apologize for that, but it's not my decision. Let's grab our next question here. This looks like it is from Nick, and Nick says the following. Nick says, I'd like to have a simple way of making a final mix, using some kind of overall compression limiter if possible. Until recently, I've been using a Boss BR800 HD recorder, which had different... Oops, it didn't give me the rest. Which had different final mixes to choose from, which suited me fine, but this option I don't have in GB. Right, so assuming that you're using GarageBand on iOS, or iPad or iPhone, the AU peak limiter is the easiest way. If you just want to limit it, let's say you have a final mix and you just want to add a limiter to that final mix just to make it radio ready. So you want to just lift the overall volume, just use the limiter. In fact, I've got a couple of videos over here on the channel. If we just search it out here, if you search my name and mastering, Pete Johns Mastering, and you come over here, there's my mastering explained. But this one here, this second video, mastering in GarageBand or mastering for free, I've got two different ones from various times. This one seems to be the more popular one. Then this actually shows how to use this one here, the AU peak limiter. And this you can just throw on your stereo mix. So all you need to do is merge your tracks down or export and import your tracks, as you can see I've done in the thumbnail there, and then add the AU peak limiter. You can also add some EQ if you want, a little bit of compression if you want to. It's up to you, but basically you master it just by using the default plugins here in GarageBand. If you want an easier way to do that, I think I covered... there's free online mastering. I think I covered at some stage, maybe not. I thought I'd maybe I'm meaning to. So there's 3 different apps that I recommend for mastering. I think I covered it in one of these videos before. There's an app called Final Touch, which has some really good presets. It's about a $20 app, so you can buy that on your iPhone or your iPad. The Clevgrand have Grand Finale, and I think, is Grand Finale still on special? Jade Star covered it recently in one of her videos. Grand Finale is probably the easier option to go with. Let's see what it is on the App Store right now. See, I don't want to do that. I try to just search for the App Store just to see it, and then Apple tries to open the App Store. This is one of the challenges I have. Maybe it's not on sale anymore. There it is. It's £14.99. For some reason, I'm on the UK side. Anyway, it's available for iPhone and iPad. So Grand Finale is a great option, and one that I use if you want the absolute simplest option that's just presets. I would go for Audio Master Pro. And it sounds like there's something I should do here. And in fact, it's going to go into the notes. I might do a video comparing basically the 4 methods that I recommend. So hang on, we'll just do mastering 4 methods, because I think it would be good to show the difference between Final Touch, Grand Finale, Audio Master Pro, and just doing it yourself in GarageBand. There you go. This is how people say, how do you always have video ideas? I just wait for people to ask questions and then I make a video about that question. You might call it a cheat, or you might call it utilizing your resources effectively. Either way you go. Either way you go is good. Russ is thrown in here. Yeah, the new bubble on the screen for question and stuff. I can't see the bottom of your screen now with my keyboard open. And yeah, I noticed this yesterday with my keyboard open on my screen on my iPad. I realize it gives you more screen, but yeah, so exactly right. So what Russ is saying here is that if we use the other brand, the old default brand, see, it's still cut off a little bit at the bottom as well. So it's probably cutting off more of it, Russ. You were always losing probably from the second two lines down there, because what happens is when you're on a mobile device, for whatever reason, Google decided that when you go to your keyboard, it squishes the top and the bottom. So you'll probably lose all of the important stuff. You'll lose the little header at the top here, and then you'll lose the bottom chunk of the screen. But I think there's the default, there's the minimal version. That's going to lose a lot of it, isn't it? The bubble version is going to lose a lot of it. Yeah, so it's just that the default one pushes it higher, that you might get a little bit more of it. And the block version, yeah, that does that as well. So yeah, it's going to be a trade-off, isn't it? But we'll definitely we'll experiment and we'll see how it goes. If it gets really annoying, then we'll go with that. But yeah, I understand. Unfortunately, the YouTube mobile viewing experience for live shows in particular is just awful. Like, it just has some really bad functionality. You can't @tag message people when you're in chat, and you can't. I mean, the one thing you can do easily is emojis. Emojis are much harder on desktop, but everything else is easier on desktop. You can move the chat, you can float the chat, you can change your layout, you can do all sorts of things on the mobile version for whatever reason. And here's the thing, YouTube, more people are watching on mobile than desktop now. You need to update and improve your mobile viewing experience. Okay? Okay, good deal. Thank you. Because Google listened to me. Sure they do, Pete. Yes, you keep thinking that. All right, we've got some more questions rolling in, so we better move on with these. We've got a question, and we'll throw it here in the chat so that you can see it as well. We'll create a banner. This is from Orchestra Eclipse, who I've seen around the channel in the last couple of days. Hi, you may recognize my name. I do, Orchestra Eclipse. I've seen you around the channel the last couple of days. What was your favorite movie of 2020? Oh, favorite movie. I watched so few movies that I can't even think of one that came out in 2020. I don't know that I watched a 2020 movie. That's really sad, isn't it? Is that really sad that I didn't see a single movie in 2020? The last movie I saw at the cinema was probably It, like the first one, like literally 4 or 5 years ago. What good movies? Now, I'm so old that I just revisit the old movies. What I do is I have to watch the movie Office Space at least once a year. It's my favorite movie, probably my favorite movie of all time. That or Back to the Future 2. But every year I have to watch the movie Office Space. And I watch it because it makes me feel better about the fact that I worked in an office, because so many of the exaggerated things that go on there are pretty much exactly what happened in the corporate world. So I had to watch that every year. And let me tell you that watching it in 2020, the week after I left my corporate job, was probably the best viewing I've ever had, because I got to watch it. And instead of feeling, comfort that I was going through all these things, I got to go, I don't have to deal with any of that anymore. So that was probably the best thing of 2020 for me. But yeah, what about you folks? What was your favorite movie of 2020? I did watch Soul, the new Disney Pixar movie, yesterday. So I'll have to go with that because it's the only one I can remember. So yeah, after I said I didn't watch anything, yes, we sat down with the family and watched the new Soul movie, which was quite good. But yeah, let me know. Office Space is indeed brilliant. If you work in an office, you got to watch Office Space. Corporate accounts payable, Nina speaking. Just a moment. Corporate accounts payable, Nina speaking. Just a moment. Yeah, and I don't think I watched a movie in 2020 either, says Gary. Absolutely. The Lighthouse for me, that was a trip. Cool. Yeah, I like it. There was some, and I can't even remember them. There was some good like Netflix and Hulu like exclusive shows and things that I watch. Oh, you know what I did watch? I'm a big fan of Tim Minchin. Well, my wife is, and therefore by association I am. And he's got a series, and I think it's maybe HBO in the US or Amazon, I think. Can't remember. We've got all these all-you-can-eat a la carte things now, but you have to have so many different services to be able to watch everything. Anyway, the series is called Upright, and it's an Australian TV series. It's about him, and it's a drama, but it's also a comedy. It's about the outback, and yeah, it was really cool because in one of the scenes they were at a pub. and it's supposed to be a pub in the country, but it's actually the Wheatsheaf Hotel here in Adelaide, which is the Wheatie, which is a great pub, and a pub that I used to go to and drink a beer before every hockey game that I would announce. So I was watching them shoot this in the Wheatsheaf, and in the scene, they're sitting on the back of a truck. It's supposed to be in the middle of the country, and you see a bus, the bus that I used to catch from the ice arena to the city, drive past. And that was the funniest thing of watching that and just going, hey, that's the B10 that goes to the city. I didn't know that. That's funny. Anyway, let's move on because we got more questions. Peter Jacobs, I've definitely seen you around the place plenty in the last year. Thank you for your support in 2020. Peter has this question. 5-inch monitors, a good size for mixing. I'm thinking of getting JBL 305p Mark II 5-inch powered studio monitor. Yes, and you know what? It's actually a really good time to buy. Here's one I prepared earlier. I wonder if these are the ones. These are the ones that are actually on special at Amazon right now. They probably are. Yeah, I saw these this morning. And to prove that I saw these this morning, without even typing or searching anything, I had this page ready to go because I did jump onto Amazon this morning. I was going to do my section on Amazon deals for the post-Christmas sales. There is so little here, I just didn't bother. But over the next couple of days, they kind of have these sort of spotlight deals that are only for 8 hours or 12 hours. So do keep an eye on Amazon. Go up the top there, go to studiolivetoday.com/gear, that one there, studiolivetoday.com/gear. Go through to the Amazon link in your country and go to the music. It'll take you straight into the musical section. And keep an eye out because there may be some good deals. And one of the deals that I found was this. There's 20% off JBL. And these things actually look really good. I use JBL for a lot of things. I've never used JBL monitors, so full disclosure there. In terms of the size, for most people, for most size rooms, 5 inches is absolutely fine. You don't really need to go to a 6, 7, 8-inch speaker unless you are in a bigger room and you really want to have that sound. I've got some Rocket 4s. I've got 4-inch speakers in here. In this size room, they are plenty loud enough. Let me tell you, when I turn those up, they are absolutely plenty loud enough. So yeah, you don't need to worry about the size necessarily. Size does matter, but not for most people. And you can go to the 6 or the 8-inch for these. But these look like a ridiculously good deal. Now, this is per monitor, isn't it? Yeah, so $100 per monitor. So it's still $200 for the pair. In fact, can you do a pair here? Is it just going to be $198? Yeah, there you go. $198, only 18 in stock. There you go. So if someone does buy these and check them out, let me know. But they do look the goods because you can see there that you've got the woofer and the tweeter. So, yep, that's going to do nicely for you. And if you come to the back, this is always the important part to check out what connections we have. Check this. We've got balanced input. So you've got the XLR there and you've got the TRS. Where's our output? Oh, that's the question. Where is our output? What am I missing? Why can't I see an output? But balanced. Oh no, because it's speakers, Pete. It's speakers. It's not an audio interface. Can everyone just do a facepalm emoji for Pete, trying to find the output on a pair of speakers? It's input. They are a listening device, Pete. Thank you. Right, so yes, they have everything you need here. Oh, they've even got the input sensitivity setting there. That's pretty cool. Boundary EQ, you've got high frequency trim, you've got the separate volume setting. Yeah, these are top notch. These have everything that you need on there to make sure that you get, because what you want with a monitor speaker, is a nice flat signal. You don't want overhyped bass, you don't want overhyped treble. So it looks like you get the opportunity here to really refine your speakers. And having the balanced input there, the only thing these don't have is RCA input. But you know what? Most of your gear, most of your higher end or even medium consumer level home studio gear is going to have a balanced output. And even if you only had an unbalanced output, you can go RCA into TS anyway. But look at that. Balanced input for both XLR and TRS. So, I mean, any of your mixers or your audio interface are going to plug in. And there you go. JBL. Where are they made? I mean, we know where they go. Oh, does that say made in the USA? Oh, no, made in China. In the bottom left there, you can say, so designed and patented in the USA, made in China. But that's okay, as are pretty much all electronics these days are made in China. So you're not really going to get away from that. But they look nice. They look nice. They look like they got the grunt that you're going to need. And yeah, very cool. So if you are in the US, obviously I couldn't import some in because of the power wattage and ratings and power plugs and things like that. Although it does look like, it does just use a standard thing there. And look, it's 100 to 240 and 50 or 60 hertz. So I could indeed get a pair of these imported. Wonder how much it would cost to get these. you can see here, I've got myself set to Waterloo, Iowa. For some reason, Waterloo, Iowa is where I chose to be my US location whenever I look stuff up. So if it can be shipped to Waterloo, Iowa, then I know that it's pretty standard. That's one of the lower, what do you call it? The lower 48 states? Something like that. Anyway, yeah, I reckon they're a good deal. Who asked that question? That was Peter. Yeah, I reckon they're a good deal. There were some other JBLs that were on special last time, so obviously JBL must have a bit of an excess of their monitor speakers at the moment. But I would jump on that because for $200, like let's compare that. So if you say went with the KRK Rocket 5, which are the newer version of what I use, what are you going to pay for them? So if we come in here, so KRK Rocket 5 are these ones, 5-inch powered studio monitor, so $149. So yeah, you're saving $100 off these. So these are the ones that I like and use, but again, just a different sort of design and layout. I kind of think the JBLs look a little bit more professional. What do you reckon? But same sort of settings here. So there you go. So yeah, you've got your same thing, high frequency level, low frequency. You got your volume setting there. So these do have RCA. So these have an unbalanced input. But again, you're never really going to need RCA input. You can always go RCA to TS and just plug it into that TRS jack and you'll be fine. It'll still work. So yep, same sort of deal there. Oh, these are only for the US version. So do not buy these if you're outside of the US because look at that. See down the bottom right there, it's got 110 to 120 volts and only 60 hertz. So if you are in Australia or Europe or the UK, do not be very careful buying any powered amplifiers, speakers, interfaces, things that run on power. If they're powered like this, always check that power rating. If you plug these into 240 volts, you're going to cause either they're not going to work or you're going to cause some significant damage. So don't do that. But yeah, there's the classic, the KRK Rocket studio monitors. Are they even the Rocket? Now they're called the Classic. That's what mine look like. So the Rocket, I think the Rockets look like these weird ones now, and that's now the Classic. Yeah, there you go. They've updated the Rockets to look like that for some reason. More square, just like Apple. They have to change it. They have to go from rounded to squarey every couple of years just to make sure that you know that you haven't got the latest. If you're using a rounded iPhone, if your iPhone is all roundy like this, you know that people look at you and they judge you because you don't have the latest thing. Whereas if you just rock the iPhone 5, it looks like an iPhone 12 mini now because they've just gone back. Everything old is new again. I'm getting way off track here, aren't I? Let's get back to the questions. Please, you need to say, Pete, that's enough. We get it. Get back to the questions. Hello, Maury. I've seen you jump in there. Do I have a store? I think that means store DJ in Adelaide. We don't have a DJ city. We don't have a store DJ. There is nowhere local for me to buy stuff, and that actually annoys me. We've got Derringers, which are okay. We've got Allen's Music. No, they shut down. We've got Harrison. We really don't have good places to buy things. So yeah. I don't, no worries, Peter. Thank you for your question. Yeah, it looks nice. I've got, 12-inch JBLs in the car and they sound nice. Yeah, JBL makes some good qualities. I don't have it here, but I use the JBL Endurance Run headphones as my daily driver headphones. And they're like a $20 headphone with a very nice mic, very nice sound, like nice flat sound, not overhyped bass. So yeah, I'm a big JBL believer and supporter and fan. Let's go to our next question, and it comes from Roger. I think we've had a couple of questions from Roger. That's all right. We've got no limitations. If you want a question answered, please throw it in the question form, which is in the chat. It's linked up the top there in the chat, and it is also down in the description if you're watching on Facebook or Bookface. What would be a good plugin for a country flavor? Banjo, pedal steel, harmonica. Now, I haven't played around with these at all, but I think now did Jade cover this? Was it not the Roxon? What am I trying to think of? Oh, what am I playing? Where's that coming from? Am I playing in GarageBand? Thankfully, I was playing my song. I didn't realize that was plugged in. Okay, so yeah, I think there is a pedal steel app. Is it? I definitely bought it. I haven't tried it yet. Let's see if I can search it out here. Pedal steel. There's the soft drummer, which would be good for some country drums. That's not what I wanted to do. And yeah, let's just go over to. We'll bring up a browser window here and we'll find it there, shall we? Boom. That's my question form. You're seeing behind the curtain there. Where we go? We'll go back over to here. So I think if we go App Store, pedal steel. There was an app, and I just can't remember. Steel guitar? Is it this one? Yeah. It is this one. and it was on sale a while ago. Yeah, but Yonak, that's right, the Yonak steel guitar, the same people that make the Roxon. So this one, is it free? 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 It's steel guitar free. I thought it was on sale and it was like $1. Anyway, go buy this then, or go get this because it seems to be free for whatever reason right now. So the steel guitar's there. Other country sounds, there's Soft Drummer, which Jade Star reviewed recently, which looked pretty darn cool. So let's just App Store Soft Drummer. This one here. So this would be good for getting some of those country kind of vibes. This one's a little more expensive. See, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that, Apple. Apple tries their hardest to go to places I don't want, like auto open. So that's a little more expensive. Yeah, that one's $28. That's Australian dollar bucks. So that's about, I think, $15 US. But that gives you some sort of brush drum styles. Harmonica, I'm not sure. So, and banjo. There are some sort of banjo synth kind of sounds that you can get in, what's the one? Sample Tank from IK Multimedia. iSymphonic, I don't think have harmonica or anything like that. But yeah, if anyone's got any good suggestions, drop them in the comments here because I don't do a lot of country stuff to get a country flavour, but other folks. There you go. Tom Rochelle says there's in-app purchases, Pete, so some of it's free. Got it. Got it. Gino says, yes, Yonak works cool. I don't like country music, but I like the pedal sound. There you go. And we've got another vote here from Mark for Yonak steel guitar. There you go. So I'd start with that and then work your way out. Danny Broderick says, Pete, what's the difference between the Steinberg UR22C and the Mark II? Not a whole lot, mate. I'll answer this one really quickly and then we'll go back to the chart. So if we come over to here, the main difference is the connection, to be very honest. So the UR22C has this USB 3.0 connection, which just means it's going to be a little bit quicker, and it means you can plug directly into devices that have USB 3, whereas the Steinberg UR22 Mark II only has a USB-B connector, so a standard A to B USB 2.0 connection. Both of them have the MIDI in and out. Both of them have the balance. Now, on the front here, I'm pretty sure we don't have the mono button and the mix knob. Let's jump over there because I haven't actually looked at it. Since I've started using the... there's a bit of delay there. One thing I have noticed is that it might be the problem with my keyboard or the distance from my receiver, but sometimes I get some significant delay when typing on my Mac. So that's one of those little bugs. So here's the UR22 Mark II. So yeah, the mono button is the one that's mixing. So you still do have the mix knob. You've still got the same two inputs there. I think they're exactly the same preamp. I don't think they've updated the preamp at all. They're the Nutric Yamaha D-Pre preamps. Still the same resolution, so up to 192 kilohertz, up to 32-bit. You've got the input, the high Z input on the second one there. You've got the mix headphones and output. And on the back, you've got exactly the same stuff, but here's the difference. USB 2.0 instead of 3.0. But you still got the power selector, still got MIDI, still got balanced line outputs, and still got 48 volts of phantom power. So... and it looks slightly different. Not much at all. But the mono button, and all the mono button does is when you're monitoring, if you're in some apps, when you're monitoring, it'll send the left channel back to just your left ear and the right channel back to just your right ear. So the mono button just means you push that down, and if you've, say, just got a microphone plugged into the left channel, it'll put your monitoring into both headphones. I mean, I use it because I want that when I'm using it just for mics, but I wouldn't, if you were looking at the UR22C, which is $165, and you're saying, why should I spend an extra $25, is it? $25 on the UR22C? There's not a lot going. There's not a lot different there. So, and if you've got this second hand for say like 140 or 130, yeah, I'd go with this. It's still supported, still has all the same compatibility features. I think Jade Star uses one of these as well. But yeah, make sure you get the Mark II though. The original UR22 is not class compliant. It will not work with your iPhone or iPad. If you are an iOS creator, you need the Mark II. There's an accordion touch instrument. I can't remember who makes it. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know either. But look around, have a dig around. Let's go. Continue on. We've got folks talking about 2020. Yeah, I know. We'll close out by talking a little bit more about 2020. And can we all agree not to just blame a year? Seriously, every time I see something, people are like, oh, 2020's at it again. It's like, no, people are creating problems. 2020 is just a year. The calendar doesn't have anything to do with it, and it's not going to be a magical switch flipping on the 1st of January. as much as we would like that. And 2020 started, for most people, okay, unless you're in Australia, where it started with catastrophic bushfires. Remember that? Remember when the biggest news story of 2020 was the fact that most of Australia was on fire? Yeah, sadly, most people don't. But yeah, there are still people still recovering. Like they've had to go through a global pandemic while recovering from having their property destroyed by a massive bushfire. Like, yeah, right? Sometimes you've got to sort of look at yourself and go, you know what? If I'm sitting inside and have the lights on, then maybe things are actually okay. Anyway, getting off the track. So we've got more questions. We do. We've got a couple more to go here. So let's jump over and grab these. It is our friend Danny Broderick, whom we just spoke to. I'll paste it in here because I'm not sure if it's going to be the same question or not. No, it's a different question. Cool. So we will talk to this. Here's the problem. It doesn't give us enough. Doesn't give us enough characters to actually do this. So it won't. I can't put it there. So I'm just going to have to read it out. Oh, and my keyboard has completely shot itself. That's all right. I'll read out your question, Danny. Hi, Pete. I have a Focusrite 404 and can see the line vocal switching is done via software on computer. Would it be better for me to purchase a Steinberg UR22C? And what's the difference between the UR22C and the Mark II? So we've covered the UR22C and Mark II. So the 404, the line vocals, the line vocal switching. Yeah, okay, that's annoying. Yeah, so with the UR22C, they're both set for vocal. Yeah, so it's automatic. So if you plug in stereo, as long as you make sure that the not the XLR, the high Z input is off, then you can plug those. You can just plug stereo in there and pan it left and right, and you get stereo in. If you plug microphones in there, then it'll be microphone. It'll use the preamp, so it's automated. So I didn't realize the 404 you had to use software to switch it. I know that that's weird because the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 allows you, has the switches right on there, doesn't it? Let's just have a quick look here so I can understand what page we're on here. So what we're talking about here is, you might be aware that, there's the 404, you might be aware that if you're recording, if you plug a microphone in, you want to have the mic level signal. So, right, you want to use the XLR input, have a balanced signal going in, or if you're plugging in a guitar, you want it to be an instrument level signal, a high Z or high Z signal. So they're different, and you want to make sure you can switch between the two. When you have line input, then you need to be able to set it to the line input level. So if we look at the Scarlett, yeah, so here's the 404. Oh, this is the 3rd gen 404. Hang on, we'll throw this up here. So yeah, that doesn't seem to have the little switches that the 2R2 has. So yeah, there you go. You've got the MIDI in and out. You've got all your line inputs. So aren't the line inputs on the back, that one there, the 3 and 4, that's just set to line input. So you're talking about if you're using the 2 on the front here, how do you change these into line from instrument? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Like if we go back to the 2R2, it actually has the switches. One of the reasons that I like the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, this one here, is that it actually has those switches on the front. See that little instrument switch? That's how you switch it from mic or line over to instrument. It looks like the 404, for whatever reason, doesn't have those buttons. And the old one, the 2nd gen, do they still sell it? 2i2 2nd gen? Probably not. No, only the 3rd gen. That's a bugger. Oh, there it is. So you can still get it in packs like this. And see how you had that little switches there? So you had the little sideways switch for line and instrument. So there you go. Is that the 2nd gen? Probably. Anyway, yeah, so if it's annoying for you, then I would consider swapping it out. But it depends how often you would be using those front inputs for line level. Because the 404 has the line inputs on the back, I'd just use channels 3 and 4 for your line inputs, and then just keep 1 and 2 if you're using guitars or microphones anyway. But yeah, let me know how you go. It's a good question, and I don't know. I wouldn't rush out to buy a brand new bit of kit just for that one reason. But if it's really annoying you, yeah, it's worth considering, I guess. It's done that thing again, and now it won't come back. The little thing like over here. So this time it's put it there, and I try to bring it back over to this side. Oh, it worked. I'll be getting there. Don't worry, folks. We'll get there. By about 2022, I'll be there with the Mac, and I'll be able to actually use it properly. How are we going on time here? We have 15 minutes to go. We will see how things are going. Jade Star is up next, by the way. I talked about Jade Star a couple of times. She's got her How to App show that will be kicking off in 15 minutes' time. So make sure you're ready for that. Jade, drop a link down so folks can get themselves in there and get a reminder on and get ready because I've got no idea what you're covering today. So let us know. And Joey, if you're doing a How to App, let us know. How to Song, let us know as well. Because I think I saw you jump into the chat there. Oh, Joey's got a bit of a Christmas carrot hangover. Yeah, see too many carrots on Christmas, and you're going to pay for it the next day. If you don't know what the carrot reference is, go back to the Christmas happy hour shows. Which, speaking of which, we've got another happy hour show coming up today. We've got another question here, or do we? It's from Pasta Semper, which sounds like a delicious pasta dish. It says, "Why are you Gia? Why are you GEA?" I don't know, because I don't know what GEA means. I'm going to assume it means, why are you great? No, I don't know what the question is, sorry. So you may have to ask it again. Otherwise, why are 42, I think is the answer. 42. Joe Glenn, how are you? I hope you are doing well. Let's grab your question here and pop it in. Righty dokie. There you go. There's your first righty dokie. Drink. Everyone drink. Joe says, I had a dispute on one of my videos from a film company. As the song is traditional and the video footage is LumaFusion, I disputed the claim. Should I be worried? Generally not. So here's the thing. We'll do a quick rant on copyright claims. So I'm very familiar with copyright claims now because I do Your Music Live, where I play your music, and many of you have got Content ID on your music, which is totally fine and 100% your prerogative to do so. So when I play someone else's music and it is flagged by the automatic robots that flag it in YouTube, it puts a copyright claim on that content. Now, most of the time, copyright claims are fine because all they do is mean that any revenue made, any advertising revenue, any income that I may make from that video is instead paid to the person who owns the copyright. Totally cool, totally hunky-dory. The worst side of that is sometimes it can block it. So when I did some Michael Bublé covers recently, they got blocked. And I think it was in like Syria and North Vietnam and a few places that I'm like, okay, it's like 0.1% of my audience live there. That's okay too. What you don't want is for it to be blocked in all countries. So if you get a global block, if you've got a record company that's super aggressive and they just want to say no one can touch our music, then you can get blocked everywhere. Unless you're getting blocked everywhere, I would leave it. Because most of the time it doesn't affect your ability to play your video, and going through the dispute process is not kind of worth your energy. If, however, you think that you've used something that isn't owned by someone else, and you've got to be really clear, so this is why it's a good question, Joe, because you've got to be really clear on this, make sure that there's not some loophole where they legitimately do own the copyright to that song, then yeah, I would only dispute it if you're 100% positive, because the problem is that if you dispute a claim and then the person says, no, we own it, and they can prove it, they have the onus of proof, but if they can prove that, they can say, yep, here it is, here's our copyright claim, we own this particular song, that copyright claim can turn into a copyright strike. Now, you do get 3 strikes, so don't stress yourself too much, because even if you get a copyright strike off of this, you need to get 2 more for it to actually impact your channel and for them to remove your channel, and they get wiped off the slate after a year anyway. So it's not worth worrying about this stuff unless you are constantly and blatantly and flagrantly just using other people's copyrighted material. You're going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be an issue. But again, for anyone that's getting copyright claims, you don't need to worry about them unless they are a global block, and then there's things you can do. So I've got some videos. If you search my name, Pete Johns Content ID or Pete Johns Copyright, there's a bunch of videos I have about how to manage copyright claims and how to manage Content ID, because it's a bit of a slippery slope, and it seems one of those things that seems really scary, because you go copyright claim, you have breached copyright, arg, but it's totally fine. I get something in the vicinity of 20 to 30 a week, because I also do my happy hour show, which I'll be doing later today, where I play cover songs. And yeah, even when you play a cover song, you get a different type of copyright claim. You get a copyright claim on the song melody, so a composition claim as opposed to using the actual music. and that can be different again. So yeah, it's a weird one and it's a slippery slope, but I wouldn't stress out. And yeah, if you are considering making a claim, just think carefully before you do so. Make sure that it doesn't, it won't impact you, but yeah, just make sure that you know what you're doing going in and that you're confident that you aren't actually in breach of anyone's copyright. See, adding these banners with the 200 character limit, it doesn't really help me out. So, because people ask longer questions. This is from our friend Toolmat. He says, I'm going from iPad. I'm going from the iPro 2017 second generation that has the lightning jack to the 2018 iPad Pro. I see it has a USB-C connector. So does this mean a completely different dongle needed, or should I just go in directly with USB-C design input? Excellent question, great question, and I have a video that will help answer it because what I use, so yes, short answer is yes, you'll need, instead of a lightning to USB adapter, you will need something like this, which is a USB-C adapter. But the beautiful part is you'll see that this one is an Apple. Even though for the USB to lightning, I say get a genuine Apple. This is made by Cable Creation, who are a cool company because they sent me free stuff. No, they make these and they make a whole bunch of different versions. So this one has 3 USB-A ports, so you can plug 3 USB devices, network, it's got SD card reader on there, it's got USB-C, it's got a whole bunch of stuff, and HDMI, so it can output HDMI as well. So that is really handy. And the good thing about USB-C is you don't need the Apple. The Apple one here in Australia cost $100. I bought it anyway when I bought my iPad just because I needed to have it. And now it's actually on my Mac. So I'm using it in the USB port or the Thunderbolt port on my Mac to plug into there. But this one here lives in my my iPad Pro. And the good thing is that, I'm just going to plug it back in here. The good thing is that that USB port that you saw there, or one of the 3 USB ports, I actually plug into my 10DAC powered USB hub. That way, if I need to swap this out for my iPhone or my older iPad, I just unplug the USB port, grab my Lightning to USB adapter and my iPad Air 2 or my iPhone XS, and I plug that in. So everything just still connects to a USB-A hub. So my entire setup's exactly the same. The only thing I changed is the adapter. Instead of the Lightning to USB adapter, it's the USB-C to USB. And again, the beauty part is you can use anything, any standard USB-C. Because again, Lightning is an Apple proprietary format. USB-C is a generic standard. So that makes life a heck of a lot easier. But yeah, it's going to be weird because I've got a feeling. Here's my prediction. Here's my 2021 prediction. Might not, well, let's not turn the phone on, shall we? My 2021 prediction, or maybe 2022. No, they'll probably have new phones. We'll probably have the iPhone 13 next year, let's be honest. Apple have got itchy trigger fingers when it comes to releasing things. iPhone 13, I reckon the mini and the regular version are going to have no jacks. And I reckon that if you want a jack, it'll be USB-C, and it will only be on the iPad Pro and iPhone Pro and Pro Max. There you go. Let's call it, let's date it, 27th of December 2020. Pete's prediction is iPhone 13 will not have a port, but you will be able to buy the Pro or the Pro Max version, and it will have USB-C, meaning Apple will abandon Lightning and move everything to USB-C. What do you reckon? Do you agree? Do you think that'll happen? We'll soon find out. All right, a couple more questions, and we've got like 8 minutes, so let's see if we can get to these. They were asking why are you gay? I'm not gay, but thanks, I'm flattered. Next question is, do I know, so from John Daniel, do I know any Nigerian artists? You know what? I know artists from all around the world these days. I don't know any Nigerian artists. Unless I do. Maybe I know someone who is actually a Nigerian artist, and I don't know that. But no, I love this community because I know artists from all over Europe, plenty from the US and Canada, from the UK, from New Zealand, heap of folks from Australia, Vietnam. I know folks all around the world, and it's, again, I mentioned at the very start, it's one of the cool things and one of the reasons that the community here is so cool is that we didn't have the opportunity to have this level of diversity in the past. The types of people, the locations, the sort of music that they're producing, I wouldn't have been engaged with. Like, let's be honest, 20 years ago, I was engaging with a bunch of dudes in Adelaide, South Australia, or if I was really expanding out, like especially pre-internet, maybe I was on a bulletin board and maybe I talked to a few people in Sydney or Melbourne or Perth. But it was people in Australia, primarily in Adelaide, and I was talking about the music that I produced. I was talking about alternative rock, and I was talking about punk, and I was talking about ska. I didn't know a lot of the world music. I wasn't even into the singer-songwriter world, the folk music world, world music. Like there's so much things. There's so many things that we've benefited from just through the globalization of the internet and of the ability to contact. So, for every negative thing we talk about, and we were talking about it yesterday actually, Thomas Christ, our buddy Tom Rochelle here, he did a stream yesterday and I caught a bit of it in the lunch break of the cricket because, priorities. In the lunch break of the cricket, I caught Tom's show and we were talking about the fact that this is not unprecedented. I know that the word of the year for 2020 has been unprecedented. This is 100% precedented. In fact, in 1918, almost exactly 100 years ago, we had almost exactly the same situation. But you know the big difference? In 1918, when you were in isolation, you were in isolation. You weren't watching no Buffhead live stream. You weren't able to communicate with your family and friends. You weren't able to FaceTime each other on Christmas because you couldn't get together. You were alone. And you were alone in your house with no ability to even get out to get food, to get medical supplies, to talk to anyone. So, I say all that to say, yes, I 100% agree that things are not perfect and that the year has not been the best. And it's been a challenging year for many, many folks. However, imagine doing it 100 years ago without any of the technology that we take for granted today. That would suck. That would suck carrots in a big bad way. So, and again, I'll continue to preach gratitude. I'll continue to talk about the positive side of things because I don't see the point of the alternative. It's like I've got a song called Things Change, and I mention this a lot. And the line in there is the only thing that doesn't change is that things will change. And you can choose to kick and scream, but things will change. So whether you like it or whether you don't like it, it's going to change anyway. So why wouldn't you? Why would you spend your time sitting in misery saying, woe is me, I can't believe that things are changing, instead of going, what can I actually do about this? What's the best thing? What's the best alternative? What can I get out of this? How can I actually move forward? I have to anyway. I have no choice. So how do I actually do it? Because otherwise, who wants to spend the rest of your life sitting around being miserable about some things that you have zero control over? No, not for me. Anyway, getting a bit serious here at the end, so we do need to finish off. Let's continue and see. Who did I see there? I saw Matthew. Merry Christmas to you, Matthew Stratton in the house. Who else haven't I said g'day to? Barry Tompkinson is here. I've said g'day to Joey Helpish, Langston Reese. Hope you're doing well. Ian, thank you for being a Patreon. Thank you, Bubba and Gary and Alex Smith and everyone who has been here today. I think we got some pretty cool things going through. Gary Hub says, "Will my new interface blow my carrot?" Yes, it will. Correct answer. All right, now Jade, did you drop your link? Jade says, "I'll be talking about my big interview on the Patreon stream, Bubba," which you worked out correctly. There you go. And you are doing a Patreon stream today. Are you doing a regular one? There you go. How to app. Looking at the Layer multi-timbral synth. And you can go to the link there or just search Jade Star and check out her show. That'll be happening in 3 minutes time. Jessica Jan, I saw you sneak in there. Don't think I didn't notice you. Let's just make sure I've said g'day. Mark Beether in the house. Always good to see you, my friend. I did a video and it's one of the more popular videos about how to import files into GarageBand. And it was a version of Can't Help Falling in Love that Mark actually produced and shared with me and was kind enough to let me use his song on that video. So yeah, if you ever do that, if you're ever looking to import WAV files and you search out my video about how to import files into GarageBand, that's this guy, Mark Beether, bass player, out of, always forget the country you're from, Europe. Talking about so many people in so many places. But yes, Europe. Alrighty, that is going to do it. But what you can do is jump over to Jade's channel now in 2 minutes time. If you're watching here live, you can check out Jade's How to App series. I will be there with carrots in hand, ready to talk about apps. And join me, won't you? In how many hours? 4 hours time. Set your reminders. Say, hey Siri, set a reminder for 4 hours time. Watch the 2020 happy hour on Studio Live today with Pete Johns. Very good. So there you go. Now, if you're playing this through your speaker, Your phone is probably going to tell you that in 4 hours' time too. See how sneaky I am? I know you all have iOS devices, and I know that it's going to listen to you. Except you're all probably listening on headphones. Anyway, that is going to do it. I did it. Yeah, and that's a good idea, Bubba. Before you split, feel free to give a thumbs up. Feel free to like the channel. And if you're listening on the podcast or if you're watching on the replay, don't worry, we love you just as much. Oh no, I got Jade Star too. There you go. I probably ruined it. Jade's stream is destroyed because I've got all of her devices talking. Alrighty, yes, it was indeed. I was very devious. Very good. All right, we'll finish off there because we are right on the 1 hour mark. But have a good time. See you in 4 hours' time, or see you in about 4 minutes or 4 seconds' time over on Jade's channel. Please, as we say at the end of every show, be kind to yourself, especially in 2020. Be kind to others, especially in 2020, and keep creating. Take care, folks.